The hardest thing for any actor to do is to have a solid reference, a solid frame of mind, and a solid point of view. It's one of the hardest things that I have to do in my job, and it's something that every actor has to do. It's how they actually get roles. It's not about reading the words, but it's about having a point of view on the words. So, how do you actually go about doing that? Well, today I'm going to be telling you how you can go about having a point of view and a frame of reference for every single script that comes across your desk. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Javon Henry, actor, host, educator, and today we're going to be breaking down one of the hardest things you have to do as an actor, and one of the things that I love doing the most. So let's jump right in. First and foremost, when you get a script that comes across your desk, a lot of us might be tempted to do the same thing, to play the words. To start to think, oh, how am I supposed to say this? What's the emotion supposed to be behind this? How am I going to be able to channel this? How am I going to start to break this down? But there's one problem with that. You are not meant to, as a creative person or an actor, play the words. You're supposed to have a point of view, have a frame of reference, and live in a moment. That's not an easy thing to do, and it's not something that we typically talk about as actors, but that is your job. Now, the way that I'm going to be going about this is from a Adlerian, Stella Adler point of view. We're going to be talking about imagination exercises that I do, and let's just start there before we overwhelm you. An imagination exercise is physically taking a script, copy, a character, what have you, and creating a world that surrounds that so that you can insert yourself inside of that world. The first imagination exercise that I ever had was based on the simple phrase, I had a wonderful time at the party. My teacher made us say, I had a wonderful time at the party. That's the only thing that we had to say. Those were our words. Those were our lines. And we had to then go forth and create the party. Where was it? Who did we invite? What was the music? What was the food? What was the dress code? What was the time of day? What was the venue? Everything we had to create. We had to picture it, imagine putting it all together, getting the caterer. We had to do everything, and then at the end of it, she asked us to say that line. Because the caveat was, I guess I should mention this, somebody came to the party who took your breath away. They took all of your attention the whole evening, whether that's you fell in love platonically, spiritually, emotionally, it didn't really matter. And then, after you imagine all this, you come out and you say your line. I had a wonderful time at the party. And boom, guess what? You now have a life. You now have subtext and context to go forth so that you can say and deliver your lines. You now have something to live from. That's what we're doing as actors. We're choosing to live from something so that we can actually have a context and a life. So how do you go about doing this for every single script that you get? Because that's the job of an actor. That's the hidden subtext of the truth in this whole industry. People don't want you to just memorize words and say words. AI can do that. Robots can do that. Your job is to have a point of view and a frame of reference. So, we already talked about how you can go about creating an imaginary circumstance. There are a couple of other things that you can do, that you should be doing. You should be, and this is a should, this isn't an opinion from me. I have a lot of opinions, but this one is a fact. Living a life outside of being an actor. Acting, and your life as an actor, is boring. Doesn't matter the project you get. Doesn't matter the life that you lead as an actor. It's boring, all right? The work that we do, we love it. It's so interesting, but the day-to-day life is rather dull. In order to have things to draw from, circumstances and wells of creativity to draw from, you need to be living a full creative life outside of acting so that you have something to inform your point of view and your opinion. Whether that's going to a museum, being a photographer and taking pictures, reading poetry, being a writer, making videos and content like this so that you can meet and chat and talk with other people. No matter what you do, you have to be doing something outside of acting because, like I said, if you just do this, you have no point of view, no frame of reference, nothing to draw from. We've all seen those actors in all those movies where they deliver a line and you go, geez, that is terrible. You're doing a terrible job at this. Why? They're delivering the lines that they were supposed to. They're reading the sheet of paper that they were given. They're reading the script. They haven't memorized. They're hitting their marks. They're doing everything they're supposed to. It's because they don't have a point of view. They don't believe it. So you don't believe it. It feels at odds with the world that is surrounding them. This point of view is one of the most important things that you can do. Now, how do you do this for every script that comes across your desk? First thing, you need to understand and realize that every script, regardless of how boring, mundane, the genre, the category it's in, is acting. If you're doing a commercial about Cremo, a nice men's scent, it is acting. It might not be in the same vein of acting as if you are playing Superman or Batman or any other superhero, or you're doing a dramatic, deep role like Fences or Shakespeare, but it is still acting. And if you just read off that script because you're like, I got this, I'm just reading, you're not going to get it. Because in every single vein, there needs to be a point of view, a who you're speaking to, a what you want, what's your main idea, what's your connection with that person or that thing. All of these are necessary. And you can put these pieces together every single day. So let's go over an exercise that I do every day that helps me put these pieces together. You need to start noticing things. What you're going to do is go outside and grab a leaf. If you're somewhere without a leaf, grab a blade of grass. Grab something that's connecting to nature. An acorn, a leaf, a blade of grass, anything of that nature. Now, I want you to bring it in, and I want you to find 10 adjectives that describes that item, right? Soft, rough, bumpy, crunchy. How does it smell? How does it taste? What does it look like? What does it smell like? I said smell twice. All of these things you're breaking down so that you can practice the art of noticing subtle differences. This is what you're going to apply to your script. You're going to notice all of the inflections and the changes of words. Things that you wouldn't have even noticed beforehand are going to start jumping out at you because you take the time to be a detective. Now, after you get those 10 adjectives, go outside and grab the same item, so another leaf, another blade of grass, and I want you to then write 10 more adjectives that are different than the first 10. This is difficult to do. It's really tough, and it's really challenging. And that's the point. It's so that you start to notice how the same thing, the same scripts that take you the same beats, the same turns, the same character motivations are different. Even if they don't feel different upon first glance, when you dig deeper, they are different because you've got different characters, different motivations, different points of view, and different references. These are the things that open you up to being a better actor. It's not just about reading these words or figuring out on your own. It's about you getting your own point of view and your own frame of mind. That is how you go about figuring out different characters. Now, when it comes to the characters themselves, if you're doing something like animation, and let's say you want to be a character actor, you need to be thinking about the differences that come with every human being. There are two things that I like to do. Number one, I people watch quite a lot. I'll go to the mall, go to a park, and I will have no phone, nothing. Just listen to the way that people talk. And you can get a lot from a person. You can have people that sound almost the same in this same exact voice, in the same exact tone, but they're completely different. Because voice isn't just the difference. If I lay back and I lean back and I just slow down, just start talking to you. Start talking to you like this. You know, I'm speaking in the same exact tone, same exact placement. Nothing's really changing. But I'm a different character than I was before. I'm not necessarily less energetic. I have the same intensity and the same push, the same drive, because I want the same thing. I want to see you change. But it comes from the point of view of who I am as a character. More laid back, less uppy, if you will. Versus if I just am back in, make sure I'm in focus, I am back to being myself. You see, characters come from beyond just the voice. We focus so much on the voice that we actually lose the acting. Focus on who the character is. Do they have a lisp? Do they have a deformity that makes them uncomfortable, so therefore they might be a little bit more soft-spoken? Even if they're in the same frame of mind, they might just not want to look necessarily at the same place, and they'll be more twitchy. These are little things that make a huge difference. Also, feel free to take advantage of your ability to move around. A lot of voice actors sit very stiff and they don't move. I can't move too much because I'll lose focus, but when I'm actually recording, man, I am moving around all the time. Yeah, I'm focusing on the microphone to make sure I'm not moving too much out of the realm of the microphone, but I am moving all the time. Because as you see, every time I move, it changes the way that my voice comes across. I haven't changed my tone, my voice, nothing at all. But every character is you in a different context. So you just need to know which one settles for the character that you're going for. These are how you go about creating different characters, different worlds, and different whole lives as an actor. It's not easy to do. But I gave you an exercise to do, and I gave you concrete things to do. Now, let's go into part 2 of today's talk. Part 2 of today's talk has to do with the industry, with where things are going, and how you can best position yourself for success. And that part 2 is you need to start working on your own projects. I've said this before. I might be beating you to death with it, but it's true. You got to start working on your own projects and greenlighting yourself. I had the honor of working with Cheyenne Iwulu, the showrunner, writer, actor of The Comic Shop, where she plays Stephanie Okeke, and there's Zeno Robinson in it. There are amazing actors in that show. And she had it written and tried to pitch it to studios, and they turned her away, said that Black audiences could not get behind a show about nerds and comic book culture, and how wrong those people were. Because it is an incredible production. It was placed on Kickstarter. I forget exactly how much it raised. I think it was like $60,000, something like that, on Kickstarter. So a lot of people could get behind the idea. And it was a really good idea. It was a great show. I got to play in episode 6. I got to be Marcus, Street Tough. Love that role. I highly recommend you watch the whole show. The point of that is that she greenlit it herself. Got the Kickstarter, raised the funds, wrote the project, got the crew, created the project, shipped it on YouTube because nobody wanted to buy it at that moment in time. I bet that's changed since then, since they've seen the success. And that's the main point. People bet nowadays on a risk-adjusted basis of return. What do I mean by that? People don't want to take gambles. There's AI. We might be going into another financial crash. There are other things at play in the world, and people don't have a lot of money to spend. They don't want to risk their money on an unsure bet. Cheyenne Iwulu created the proof of concept. She created the whole damn first season. So now people see it. They see the feedback from the audience. They see the potential, and now they might want to have a bigger buy-in, especially for a second season or what happens in the future. She created her own project, and it's time for you to go out and create your project as well. No, it's not going to be easy. And no, most people don't want to go indie. Hell, I don't want to go indie. I did not want to go indie. But Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, these places are no longer social media outlets. They are interest media outlets. When you log on, you don't see the people who you necessarily follow. You see who these platforms think that you will want to see at that time to keep you on the platform. For example, I, every morning, watch inspirational morning quotes to wake up. My wife and I watch it. We've been watching it for the last 2 months. The creator, who gets suggested to me every single time I open up YouTube in the morning, I don't follow. I've almost never actually liked a video. I changed that recently because I was like, I need to start liking and following. But YouTube still suggested him to me every single morning. Specifically when I log on in the morning. If I log on in the afternoon to YouTube for the first time, it doesn't recommend his content. Why? Because YouTube knows that I watch the stuff, so it recommends it to me. These platforms will find an audience for you. That audience is who you wanted to speak to in the first place. So go and just do the project. Yes, it's harder. You're going to have to write it. You might have to find money. You might have to find a team, a crew. You might have to put together the pieces yourself. It might take longer. But God, it's going to take a long time just because that's the way the industry is right now. It's going to take a long time regardless of what you do. I auditioned for a project when I first got my agent. Maybe 3 weeks after being signed, I auditioned for this project. I didn't get cast, and then I didn't record the project for an additional 5 months. And I'm probably not going to hear back or see the project for a year to 2 years. And that's even if the project actually gets put into production, because this was just a pilot. You don't know what's going to happen. You're waiting for something to happen that might never materialize. We don't know what's going to happen with all of these streamers. Hell, right now Netflix is testing vertical formats on the actual Netflix app. You might be able to watch vertical content. They're also testing AI-driven voting, where you can vote for how you want a show to progress. We don't know what's going to happen. You just got to make your own stuff. Right? The industry is starting to trend in such a way where our careers are not untenable. There will always be actors. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that there will be a time when actors stop acting, but I am trying to say that it might be harder for projects to be greenlit. And then since it's harder for those projects to be greenlit, companies are going to want big names to try and capitalize on those projects. You need to become a big name by putting yourself in the position to find the audience to become a big name. And that's done by greenlighting yourself. Working on your own projects, getting out there and putting it in front of people so that they see it. You're done practicing. It's time to get started. All right? Thank you for clocking into work today. Happy to see you, hang out with you. And like I always say, get outside, drink some water, go read a book, read poetry for God's sake. It'll change your life. And stay creative.